Hello there and welcome to EyeOnSheridan. I'm Kabir Thorbagaria.
And I'm Haley Hamath. Making news today, security at the Sochi Olympics is heightened.
A shooting in Richmond Hill leaves 2 people dead and 1 in critical condition. And later in the show, cute, cuddly, and now on the move, a Toronto Zoo polar bear takes its first steps.
But first, a shooting in Richmond Hill has left a man and a woman dead, and another man in hospital with life-threatening injuries.
Of any kind. So to wake up to find out that there was gunshots and people had been murdered is very distressing.
The shooting took place in a car in the parking lot of a townhouse complex near Yonge and Major Mackenzie Drive. The woman was pronounced dead on scene and the men were rushed to the hospital where one was pronounced dead. Police do not have the names revealed of the victims. Witnesses report seeing 2 people fleeing from the scene. K-9 units were unable to track them. More on this story as it progresses.
An update today on the murder of 2 Canadian snowbirds, David Pichowski and Rochelle Wise. A Florida police chief said today that they have DNA samples of 2 women who may be behind the attack. Pichowski and Wise were found dead in their Florida home on January 10th of last year. In the press conference today, the family of both Wise and Pichowski pleaded for someone to come forward with information. Wise co-founded the Crestwood Valley Day Camp. Its art center has been renamed in her memory.
Hundreds of passengers are still grounded due to flight delays and cancellations at Pearson. iCry was there today and has the story.
A day after Pearson International Airport issued a ground stop for flights leaving and arriving in Toronto, the backlog continues to affect travelers. What would normally be a busy arrivals area is now virtually abandoned, and of about 1,500 flights scheduled for today, more than 400 flights have been cancelled. Meanwhile, GTAA officials are saying they're working to deal with the issue.
There was a ground stop called at Toronto Pearson in order to deal with certain safety conditions due to the weather. There was equipment freezing, so there were concerns for some of our employees. As well, we wanted to make sure that we didn't receive a backlog of flights coming in.
Yesterday's ground stop was issued when temperatures plummeted to as low as -40 degrees, making work for airport ground personnel dangerous. This resulted in grounded flights. Passengers arriving at the airport expecting to fly out, only to find out that their flight has been delayed or canceled, are doing their best to cope.
Our flight was to leave at 10:20 and it was delayed. They told us right away that it was delayed until 3:30 this afternoon.
It's about about 8 hours or something that I sat around.
While airport authorities did not provide a statement to respond to criticism from frustrated passengers, they did offer some advice.
Our biggest advice for passengers is that they check with their airline before heading out to the airport, or if they have been affected by this, that they contact the airline to find out what their next steps are.
Although airport officials have promised they're working to resume normal flight schedules, they still have not provided any deadline for when they expect that to happen. This is Ike Rye reporting for EyeOnSheridan.
While the GTA is still in a deep freeze, Hutch is standing outside in the cold. He's got the latest on this freezing weather.
Thanks, Kabir. I've got some good news and some bad news for you. Environment Canada has lifted the extreme cold wind chill warning for the GTA. But the bad news is that most of southern Ontario is still experiencing extremely cold temperatures. Motorists are being asked to take extra caution due to slippery conditions on our roads and highways, with snow squalls expected for those traveling north of the city. The City of Toronto still has an extreme cold alert in effect. The alert triggers a number of additional services for the city's homeless population, like a new warming center located in Metro Hall. Right now, we're experiencing negative 10-degree weather. Hopefully later on, it gets a little warmer, but I'll have more exciting news for you in terms of weather after we come back. Right now, back to the newsroom.
At least 61 Toronto streetcars have been taken out of commission by the frigid cold temperatures.
It's pretty cold outside today.
To meet the demands of commuters, additional buses have been deployed in their place. Despite the hiccup in the service, Deputy Mayor Norm Kelly says the TTC has been nothing short of heroic in their efforts. A 70-year-old man from Leamington who went missing in a snowstorm has been found alive. John Friesen left his home in his pickup truck Monday afternoon but wasn't found until Tuesday. Police say he was conscious but suffering from extreme cold. He is currently in hospital for treatment.
Residents of Durham Region are receiving ice storm food compensation today. $840,000 in grocery store cash cards have been given to around 8,500 families in the GTA. Almost $500,000 worth of grocery cards were given out yesterday in Halton, Peel, Waterloo, and York regions. Opposition parties say Premier Kathleen Wynne is handing out food baskets as a way to campaign. In the United States, authorities have recorded at least 21 cold-related deaths since Sunday. Several victims were identified as homeless people who didn't make it to a shelter on time. At least 5 people have collapsed dead while shoveling snow. Half of the country is covered by what experts are calling a polar vortex.
Mexican authorities have identified 2 Canadian women arrested in connection with a firebomb attack against a government office in Mexico City. Emily Porter and Fallon Poison Roulier were arrested after they tossed Molotov cocktails into a government building. The 2 Canadians were transferred into CIA custody. No word on what prompted the attacks. Police in Alberta have charged a 52-year-old man and rescued a 4-year-old girl today following a child pornography investigation. Kenneth McKinley faces charges of sexual assault, sexual interference, and child pornography after he was arrested at a work camp last month. McKinley will appear in Hinton Provincial Court today.
Police raided an apartment building on Spears Road this morning and found 1,600 marijuana plants and another 30 pounds of already harvested pot. Suspicions arose due to the unusually high amount of electricity being used by the apartment. When the landlord went to investigate, he found a woman and a grow-up inside. The woman fled the scene before police arrived, and so far, no arrests have been made.
$12 million is being invested into the medical marijuana field. CEN Biotech says the money will go towards a facility in Windsor to grow, sell, and export medical marijuana. The company president says they are planning to have the facility up and running in 7 months. He hopes to produce over 1.3 million pounds every year. The hydroponic growing operation will be surrounded with security like a federal prison.
An unidentified man in his 50s has been found outside of Aurora after being stranded for over 12 hours in his vehicle following an accident. Specifics of the accident are unknown, but police believe the man launched himself over a snowbank. He was found by a highway worker who thought the vehicle was abandoned. Shortly after, emergency crews arrived to take him to the Southlake Hospital in Newmarket. His family has been notified of his whereabouts. He's currently in critical condition.
CN Toronto emergency crews are being sent to New Brunswick to help put out a dangerous fire caused by a train derailment. The train was transporting crude oil and propane to Moncton when 17 cars and a locomotive derailed near the village of Wepska due to mechanical failures that affected the brakes. Anyone within a 2-kilometer radius of the fire was evacuated last night. No injuries have been reported. Prime Minister Stephen Harper is in Inuvik today, promoting a new gravel highway. It will link to the community Tuktoyaktuk, which is about 140 kilometers away. Once finished, the highway will cut down shipping costs between the communities by hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Toronto Mayor Rob Ford's visibility during the ice storm last month has helped take his ratings out of a deep freeze. Ford's approval rating rose to 47%, up from 42% before the storm. At this time, 41% of Toronto residents would vote for Mayor Ford, despite his admitted crack cocaine smoking. Recent studies performed on organic fruit reveal that nearly half of the organic fruits and vegetables tested in the last 2 years contained some pesticide residue. About 2% violated Canada's maximum allowable pesticides for organic foods. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency says, however, that these numbers do not pose any health risks and that it will not prevent these foods from being sold as organic.
Ontario will spend $4 million this year on courses that will help teachers improve their math skills. This move came after Ontario's Education and Accountability Office determined that only 57% of grade 6 students and only 67% of grade 3 students met the provincial standards in math.
Coming up after the break, we have the latest on Libya's threats to oil tankers.
As well as Dennis Rodman catching the public's eye. Stay with us. Welcome back to EyeOnSheridan. A fire on a passenger train in India leaves 9 passengers dead. The Dehradun Express from Mumbai to the city of Dehradun pulled into a station and evacuated all passengers after a rail official discovered a fire in a second-class coach. The cause of the fire is still unknown. India's state-owned rail network carries 18 million passengers daily. This train is one of many that contributes to India's patchy rail safety record.
Russia is taking extreme precautions with security for this year's Winter Olympic Games in Sochi. After the 2 bombings in Volgograd last month, a special exclusion zone is now being enforced. Only Sochi-marked vehicles, emergency or specially accredited personnel will be allowed into the greater Sochi area. Air and water pathways will be restricted, and anyone entering will undergo heavy security and identity checks. The Russian research icebreaker, the Akademik Sholsky, is now free from the unusually deep ice in the Antarctic. A Chinese icebreaker also got stuck in the attempt to free the Russian vessel and was freed hours later. The research vessel has been stuck for 2 weeks.
Mass protests in Greece today as Prime Minister Antonis Samaras gets ready to take over as president of the EU for a 6-month term. Demonstrators are still upset over austerity measures being imposed by the EU. In Athens, authorities shut down roads and riot police hit the streets. Greece is hoping to break out of its past 6-year recession. Former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi was absent from his trial in Cairo today. His flight from Alexandria was unable to take off because of bad weather. Despite his absence, the courtroom was still chaotic with protesters and other members of his government present. The trial has been rescheduled to February 1st.
Libya has warned oil tankers to stay away from its eastern terminals or they could be sunk. Prime Minister Ali Zidan says the country will go to any lengths to protect its resources. That threat, plus the unusually long cold snap in North America, has moved oil prices higher.
4 members of the U.S. Air Force are dead after their helicopter crashed during a training mission. It happened near the village of Salthouse in England. Witnesses say the helicopter came in very fast and low. Authorities are now conducting an investigation. The victims' names will not be released until the families are notified.
A marijuana-related explosion has rocked Rainier Valley in Seattle. It happened inside of an abandoned apartment building, blowing out windows, sliding glass doors, and taking out a wall. Bomb detectives determined it was the result of a hash oil extraction. No injuries were reported, but no one is allowed to return to the building until it's determined to be safe. On the 3rd anniversary of the Tucson shooting, former U.S. Congresswoman Gabby Giffords is planning to skydive. Giffords was shot in the head after an armed gunman opened fire. She now has problems speaking, cannot see properly, and is paralyzed on her right side. Despite these setbacks, Giffords and her husband, retired astronaut Mark Kelly, have decided to dedicate their lives to ending gun violence and promoting stricter gun laws.
Dennis Rodman made a birthday tribute to the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un. He sang happy birthday on the court before playing a basketball game against the North Korean team. He dedicated his game to his best friend as well. The game was played by former NBA All-Stars and was split up in the second half to keep it friendly between the American and North Korean teams. Rodman says that he felt honored to play the game and called the event historic.
We've got Sports with Lucas coming up after the break.
Don't go away.
Welcome back.
This brings us to our sports segment, and that means bad news for Leaf fans.
Lucas Castelletto has the details.
Thanks, Kabir. Unfortunately for Maple Leafs fans, the disappointment continues. The Buds were in action last night against the New York Islanders. Maple Leaf center Tyler Bozak opens the scoring in the first period on a tip-in, making it 1-0 Toronto. After the Islanders tied it at 1, Jonathan Bernier makes a boneheaded play, turning the puck over, giving New York the lead. Midway through the second, Leafs forward Mason Raymond ties it up with a power play goal. Early in the third, Islanders forward Frans Nielsen jumps all over a rebound, regaining the lead for New York. The Islanders put the game away as Calvin DeHaan scores his first goal on a slap shot, which beats Bernier blocker's side. The Leafs have now lost 2 games in a row. The up-and-coming Toronto Raptors were in Indiana last night, looking to continue their recent success. Let's pick it up in the second quarter, where Raptors guard Grievous Vasquez dishes it off to Patrick Patterson to bring the Raptors within 1. Pacers guard Lance Stevenson scores 2 of his 11 first-half points, giving Indiana a 44-36 lead at the half. George Hill takes a nice pass and scores in transition, making it a 15-point lead for the Pacers. Roy Hibbert then puts the game away in the fourth, scoring 2 of his team-high 22 points. The Raptors will look to rebound tonight at home against the Detroit Pistons. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. Call him Johnny Pro Football. Texas A&M quarterback Johnny Manziel, the 2012 Heisman Trophy winner, is foregoing his junior and senior seasons with the Aggies to declare for the 2014 NFL Draft. Manziel made the decision today after there were reports of him signing with an agent on Tuesday. Manziel filed declaration papers for the draft this morning. Frank Thomas, Greg Maddux, and Tom Glavine are headed to Cooperstown. It is the first time since 1999 that 3 players were named to the Baseball Hall of Fame all at once. Former managers Joe Torre, Bobby Cox, and Tony La Russa have also been elected. Our sports reporter Gabe Scardicchio got reaction from Team Canada's hockey roster announcement. Here he is with the details.
Steve Yzerman and Hockey Canada announced the 25 players they'll be taking to Sochi to compete for the gold medal in the Olympic Games this February. There will be 11 returning players from the team that won gold in Vancouver in 2010. Among the most notables are Jonathan Toews, Roberto Luongo, and Canada's golden boy and projected team captain Sidney Crosby. Other notable players to make the team is forward Jamie Benn, defense PK Subban, and goaltender Mike Smith. Canada released their roster yesterday. Can you just give me your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, actually. You know, looking at the roster, you got some good people on the blue line, strong puck holders, as well as some speed up front. Everyone's different, so you have a lot of variety up front.
Canada's hockey expectation is so high that anything less than gold in Sochi is considered a failure. But is this a real possibility, even with some very notable players left off the roster? Key players to not make the team are Claude Giroux, Brent Seabrook, and Martin St. Louis.
I don't know. I don't feel like Kunitz should be on that team at all. Neil was such a better performer. He's healthy now. And the big one everyone's going to ask about is Martin St. Louis.
Canada has enough depth and talent to field 2 teams in this year's Olympics in Sochi. But no matter the roster, the goal will always remain the same: bring home the gold. Reporting for EyeOnSheridan Sports, I'm Gabe Scardicchio.
Thanks a lot, Gabe. The Canadian alpine skiing team to represent the nation has been announced for next month's Winter Olympics. Among those who qualified for Canada is Eric Gay, who recently became the country's all-time leader in World Cup podiums and is expected to be one of the leaders on the team. That's all for sports. Now on to Laura Martin for today's entertainment news.
Thanks, Lucas. Media executive, movie pioneer, and philanthropist Sir Run Run Shaw passed away yesterday. To many, he was known as the King of Kung Fu, who originated the martial arts genre in the late 1960s with his older brother. Shaw co-founded one of the world's largest film studios, Shaw Brothers. Sir Run Run Shaw was 106 years old. Fire investigators plan to return to the home of actor Alex O'Loughlin today. They are still trying to determine what started a fire in his home. Damage is estimated at $110,000. O'Loughlin says fortunately no one was hurt, but he lost a lot of property, including his tools, motorcycles, and boards. Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey will join forces on the small screen in the highly anticipated new HBO series, True Detective. The show is a twisty tale about two mismatched cops, a family man played by Harrelson, and a darkly pessimistic loner played by McConaughey. The pair is pursuing a mysterious serial killer in the Louisiana backwoods. The show begins Sunday, January 12th. The People's Choice Awards is the first to kick off the 2014 award season. It airs tonight at 8. Beth Bears and Kat Dennings of Two Broke Girls will be hosting the award ceremony. Tune in to see who was picked for your favorite band, favorite actor, and even favorite TV bromance. The Golden Globes are soon approaching. Our entertainment reporter Destiny Browning is live in the studio. Destiny?
Thanks, Laura. It's definitely the winter season outside here in Toronto, but in Hollywood, things are heating up. The Golden Globes are kicking things off for this year's awards season, and it's very exciting. This year we have the 12 Years a Slave, the Mandela movie. There's a lot of upsets and a lot of surprises this year. But all the excitement really starts on the red carpet. That's when things get interesting. I spoke to makeup guru Olga Transka to show me the latest trends.
More natural looks on the eyes, maybe a smoky eye, but a really red or dark lip for sure. Red lips are great if you have curly hair or it's up in a bun. So anything, if you're going for a glamorous look, definitely go for a glamorous hairstyle, and that means something up, like a bun, a ballerina bun or something. For Lawrence right now, she's amazing. She looks naturally beautiful, and her makeup is always amazingly done, and definitely I would look up to her for anything.
I spoke to Sheridan students around the campus to see what their predictions are for this year's Golden Globes. There's a lot of things that people haven't seen yet. Tune in.
Breaking Bad, honestly, it's pretty much all I watched that was 2013. Dexter was a very big letdown. That kind of ended, and I just, but yeah, Breaking Bad probably stole my heart.
I just love seeing the outfits and the dresses. I don't know. I love seeing their makeup and all that fancy stuff.
This year, that's a really tough one because like I don't really go to the movies that often. Like I normally see the movies like after they've come out. Lots of good things about Wolf on Wall Street, which I'm probably gonna end up seeing that one.
That's all for entertainment, and back to you guys. Kabir.
The nominations announced today for the 2014 British Academy of Film and Television Arts Awards. Gravity is leading with 11 nominations. Right behind them with 10 each are American Hustle and 12 Years a Slave. Make sure to tune in to the BAFTAs on February 16th. That's all for entertainment. Now back to the desk.
Hutch Hoffman is standing outside in the cold.
Poor guy's probably freezing. He's going to tell us what it's like outside.
Thanks, Kabir. It is extremely cold outside, and as you can see, the sun is not shining. Today we had a high of -8 and with a wind chill that feels more like -16. Thursday, it'll be sunny with a high of -6 and a low of -13. Humidity is 61%. Friday, mainly cloudy and a high of +1. Its low will be -7 and humidity 75%. Saturday, we'll have rain and a temperature high of +8 while having a low of 2. Humidity is 78%. Sunday, we will see variable cloudiness. Its high will be 4 and its low will be -1. Humidity will be 1. Humidity will be 67%, and on Monday you will experience a high of 7 and a low of -1, having a humidity of 85%. And right now we're looking at some images from North Carolina, which is looking a bit more like the North Pole. This frozen waterfall is the result of a pipe that burst in a condo. Just another example of the effects of this extreme weather. And that's all for weather. And now back to you in the newsroom.
Thank you very much, Hutch. A polar bear at the Toronto Zoo has just taken its first steps.
The bear was born on November 9th and is now able to stand on all 4 legs. He also loves teething and he loves to bite on his blanket. I just want to snuggle with it.
Okay. Thank you guys very much for watching Eye on Sheridan today. I'm Kabir Thorbigaria.
And I'm Haley Hamath. See you next time.
Stay warm.